All right, I'm going to call the Town of Bristol Selectboard meeting for Monday, January 14th, 2018 to order. Anything on the agenda that we want to add, remove, or adjust?
Just a heads up that the meeting minutes that are in item 6 are not available tonight for a number of reasons.
Either one?
Any of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Public forum. Anybody in the group that has anything to say that's not on the agenda? I guess not. Appointments. 6 p.m. Michael Casaros, Dominion Tech Computer Services. Come on up, Michael.
Front and center, this camera takes off 10 pounds, right?
So Mary can get a close-up on camera.
Sweet. This is a fun. Well, thanks for having me here. I appreciate it. I always like to go around and visit select boards all over Vermont. It's great. I've been all the way down south and around here, so I'm pretty familiar with it. I'm with Dominion Tech, and the reason this whole thing real quick came about really is because we partnered with NIMRIC. And what NIMRIC does for your town is they do a lot, every town's different, but every town at least use one piece of software, if not many, from NIMRIC. They do all the software for everything from financials to all the way down to dog licensing. And each town uses them accordingly. We partnered with them. They used to do a little IT with a gentleman by the name of Theo. And your office is familiar with Theo. He did some help work with you folks. Well, we since acquired Theo about 3-4 months ago. He's very talented, and he wanted to get more into a fixed IT model versus traveling from the top of the state to the bottom of the state and being this road warrior every day. So NIMRIC came, they did some searching and they finally said to us, hey, we should partner up, and so that we don't leave, lack of a better term, towns hanging. Especially towns that had Theo, and then all of a sudden Theo's not there. Where do we go? So that's where we step in. We are obviously a choice. By no means do you have to join with us, but what we did is we put together a package strictly for smaller towns that don't have the 30, 40, 50 administrators and users throughout the town, and a package that keeps you secure. I always like to say secure and really focus on strategic planning. All my travels and with meeting with towns, I really feel and have seen that the security needs to bump up with everybody, as well as the strategic planning. We need to do a better job only so that we can have this in a budget and be prepared if anything should happen, yet still be proactive and have enough in there to protect things from happening. And when there's a lot of cyber security threats going on with towns and so forth, and they're even hitting home. Many of you might have heard just a few. Town of St. Johnsbury got hit pretty good. Non-town Wendell's, I'm sure you've all read about Wendell's getting whacked about 2 months ago now. So it's happening. It's a business, and these folks like to prey on the smaller folks that don't have the big security and everything because it's an easy pop, as we say. So I'm here to answer questions, talk a little about our offering. It is we put it together. It's on your flyers that you have here in the back. It's called the Security Essentials Program. We built it strictly for towns. No other businesses of ours can have it. We've been doing this for about 18 years. We have many clients, all different industries. We kind of focus on medical, financial, and local government. We have a lot of departments like Williston Fire Department, Rutland Police Department. We work with Essex. So we understand, I can keep going, but we understand budgets, and we understand that planning is huge. We also understand that a lot of the times the IT is either doesn't have a budget, or that's kind of sometimes the first one to get nixed if we need to save some money. And I'm trying to go around and really show folks that, we need to start having a budget for that because things are not like they used to be. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, it looks like we have about, is it 8 or 9 computers here? I think there's...
Yeah, probably about there.
Yeah, and the details aren't, extremely important numbers-wise, but just kind of what the package that we put together for towns really is that it's monitoring so that anytime Microsoft comes out with patching, new security patches to computers, very important. If you don't physically have someone do that, they don't get patched. So this plan does all the patching for the town's computers. It does all the antivirus and ransomware for the anti-ransomware for the town's computers, so that they're all on the same platform. So you know exactly when you're up, you know exactly that it's being managed. Because right now, just in talks that I've had, it's this person has this, could still be active, we're not really sure. This person has this. You want everybody on a local, you know, same plan. You know, so it's streamlined and you know it's being effective. It's really just giving you a place also to, if there's a problem, that you have a number that you can call. You can call either, you know, the 800 NIMRIC number, and the best thing about that relationship is, you know, when these folks call, if it's a NIMRIC problem, NIMRIC will help them. If it's an IT problem, they shoot them right over to a live help desk right in Williston that we have waiting, engineers waiting to help you. You know, so they don't need to have to determine and waste time, what is it? Just pick up the phone and call, and we'll fix your problem for you with our partnership. You know, this is one of the bigger things here too, is backups. Each computer will be backed up, so any local files that they have there will be backed up, and they'll all be able to share if they want to. They do a lot of that now, but this brings it more to a business level than anything else. That's really, I don't want to get too technical. I don't want, you know, I just like to answer questions and, you know, see how I can help.
Well, one of the things we touched on when we met last week or so was that of all the different computers, we all have something different, or we aren't quite sure what level of antivirus each computer has, and the firewall system within the system, whether there is one.
I talked with Leo. You do not. He tried to.
We really don't want to broadcast that.
Yeah.
Too late.
Well, it's, you know, everybody's here to trust me. But I mean, yes, that is something you, if it's not with us, you need to do.
Right.
You do not have one. It was presented, he said, over a year ago, but it was not.
Yeah.
It was not done. So definitely do that.
Yes,
We aren't currently networked, right? We all have standalone workstations.
exactly.
So everybody's documents are saved locally, and you don't share them unless you like email them to each other. Yeah.
But with the Office 365,
You
we
have
have some
storage.
ability to share with others who are on Office 365.
But not everybody here is on Office
Right,
365.
right. Only a handful.
And that's another thing that we talked about, that with our backup, yes, it'll back up some of those local files for you, which is great. It'll also, it's also a tool that is a file share amongst you all, which is, I think, needed in any business setting. And you can work from anywhere. So if it's a snow day, you can work from home.
Right. Didn't we talk about networking at one point? Or
We did, and so that is kind of the discussion we had, because Theo, who was with NIMRIC, came in and kind of was like, you guys are like on that verge. You're on the verge of being like small enough to not,
But almost too big.
like, but almost too big to need one. And so after speaking and meeting, we kind of figured out that while there is 10 computers here, the usage of the 10, like, there's probably 4 or 5 that are
Right.
used regularly,
Right.
consistently, all the time, that are ones that we really need to be aware of and worry about. And then the remaining are just ones that are here for people who are here part-time. So that's why we fell into the, can you tell that kind, that
The security essentials.
the security essentials versus the other.
Need care.
Yeah, you're right on the line. You really are. We normally do 10 computers or more is Dominion Care. What that really does is that kind of gives you unlimited help desk support, unlimited everything, all in one. We talked about it. Maybe in a year or two, we'll be there. But like you said, you only have really 4 or 5 computers that are everyday file sharing and everything. I think that'd be overkill.
Yeah.
So if I look at this right, then the way it would work for us, it would be $39 per computer per month. Is that correct?
Correct.
It's
What?
$29 if you don't use file sharing or cloud backup.
And so we had
Correct.
talked about a few computers who potentially, like this computer, we want it to be covered, but we don't need it to file share. The other laptop that's out front for searching, we want it to be protected, but we don't need it for file share.
So we can mix and match then.
Yes.
The ones that don't need it are at 29 and the ones that do are at
Okay.
39.
So just like my computer, Valerie's computer, Sharon's computer, Peter Bryan's computer are the top 4 computers right now that we're looking at that definitely need the $39 a month. And then the 10 included the rec department as well.
And they'll all still get the patching. third-party patching, which is what that means is that things like Adobe and things like that, all those extras, we patch them all for you and keep them because so, layman's terms, so the bad folks can't get in through that way.
I'm not fully understanding how you're using the word discounted.
Sure. So what that is it's a discounted hourly rate specifically for the town.
Okay.
It's what is it? I think it's $157 an hour. That is a rate it's normally $165 is our normal rate. We give the town a discount on that, and that's for things like if you have and it's not so if you call in and it's a quick 5-minute fix, we don't bill you an hour. It goes in 6-minute increments, and that includes like if you don't have a server here, which is great, but a lot of times have server failure. It's like so we have to come here, so forth. But
Okay. So the ones that are listed as discounted are not included in the program.
correct. We give a special discount for those types of things. Yeah.
And one service that you offer is having somebody come by and do an assessment, an inventory of each computer, its age, the model, and come up with a capital plan for
Yep.
replacement and a budget.
Yep, so that's kind of the technology consulting, the dedicated virtual CIO. CIO, what that is a Chief Information Officer. That's where I think, will help towns thrive because that's where we'll actually help you make a 1, 3, and 5-year budget. Making an IT budget, it's not easy, and it's a pain. Everybody knows that, right? Even I know that. But if you have someone that really knows what they're looking for and knows how to put it together. So, prime example, next year at this very time, all computers that are 2007 Windows base are obsolete. Meaning, you'll pretty much need all new computers. So instead of waiting until next December and someone saying, okay, now we got to find $10,000 to replace all this, we make a plan, and this is what we do for our clients. So, we plan it all out so that, okay, this month we're going to do this month of the year a little different because we have a budget, but that's where it comes in. So we need to look at that in 2020, and we need to put that in our 19 budget because we know how your budgets run a year, so we need to plan accordingly, and that's kind of what we do. If you had a server, it would be the same thing, a firewall. We need to budget out a firewall. You need a firewall, right? We need to put that into our budget and our plan. And there's other things. Office 365 is a great one. Everybody should be on Office 365 for the email piece. And like you said, you have some folks in the premium piece, which is the applications, your Windows, your PowerPoint, Excel. You want to get those to 2016. And Office 365 has a license that allows you to do that. So all these things need to be planned out accordingly. And towns are even harder than a normal business because in a normal business you have good months and not so good months. So if you have a good month, we can do those 3 computers this month. We had a good one. You guys aren't like that. You have the whole budget and you got to stick to it, right? So you need to catch it before the ball is hit back to you anyway. So that's what we do and that's what we specialize in and that's why we work so well with towns and town departments because of that. And that's normally. That comes obviously in our complete care comes free. Someone would sit down there, not free, but it's included, once a quarter. But we said we can't leave towns out on that. So we give them the discounted option that if they want our 30+ year engineer to come out and do that, which I think is a great idea, once a year, whatever, we offer that.
If after tonight, the select board does choose to go with Dominion Tech, and you get the green light this week sometime, what would be the soonest, what would be the turnaround for having some of these systems in place for the screening and the protections?
Yeah, so so that's called the onboarding. And the way that works is we would then just get a list of all your users. And we would actually then schedule a time that works for you and we would come out, put agents on all the computers. That way we can do, that's how we do all the patching and everything. It also allows us, if there's a problem for us, just to remote right in, fix it, get you all back working.
Is that a software?
It's a little it's what we call a lab tech agent thing. It doesn't interact with or override any applications you have. I would say, what are we, probably middle of February, beginning, the middle of February, depending on the rush and the importance of it. And again, a lot of towns, you know, I'm running it, okay, January or July, right? So if you push it out, I don't know if this is something, you know, whether it's myself or whomever you decide to go with, if it's gonna be before your fiscal year or you're just gonna roll it into that budget too.
Right.
So we can get you going in February if need be, or if you have to budget it for the next, then we can do that too.
What are the typical costs in setting up a system our size? Just setting it up?
Well, so the way it works is there is a one-time onboarding fee, which is just 1 month. It'll take a lot more time and cost than that, but we only do a 1 month. So if it's, say, $400 for number's sake, then it's a 1 month, $400 onboarding, and we do all the setup and everything. That's included in everything.
That's included
That
in the
is.
400? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
we do it all, yeah.
I had
Yeah.
calculated that 8 computers at $39 a month, it comes out to $312.
Did you put it in the 149 network fee? Did you add that?
I didn't. No.
Yeah, that's standard across the board. That is for, so what that does is that allows us to manage all firewalls, when you get it. Basically your whole your network. It allows us to monitor
Funny.
and manage it here.
So is that annual?
Network. What's that?
Is that annual
It's
or one
monthly.
time?
Monthly.
That's on the
Oh,
month.
monthly.
Monthly.
Oh.
Yep.
That cranks it up considerably.
Yeah. Yeah, because we don't want to just say, okay, we're just going to take care of your computers because you're going to have network issues, you're going to have, you know, firewall issues and things like that. We want to be, we want to know who's trying to get into your firewall. That's super important, right? Who's trying to break into your computers? Who's trying to break into your firewall and things like that, and your whole network in itself, the cloud, managing the whole cloud network and everything. We actually have engineers, that's their job. You know, we're not a huge company. There's 15 of us, but we're large enough that we can actually set aside engineers to do things like that. Monitoring backups, monitoring firewalls, monitoring, so that it doesn't take our techs out of the field. And B, because you want to know if you're having the same person trying to penetrate your firewall, once you get one, or your network per se, right? You want to know 4 or 5 times, you don't know why. Do we need to get the police involved? I mean, what's going on? It happens all the time. So we want to look at logs. Every month we look at logs, review logs. We could see, you know, there's a lot of firewall security plans, log review, all your licenses and your vendor agreements that you have. We do all those reviews for you, so your Microsoft license gets renewed when it's supposed to, before it gets shut off. You know, so we take care of all that for you as well. We are the preferred Microsoft vendor in the state, so whenever anybody goes to Microsoft, they send all the leads to us. We do about 1 to 2 migrations a week. So we're very thorough at Microsoft. And you want to make sure that if you're on, are you on a yearly, are you on a 3-year license, right? Can you save it? If you buy a year, can you get a savings? And all those sorts of things. And you want to make sure that you renew the licenses you have when you're supposed to renew them and your certificates, because if they go obsolete, that's a pain.
I just want to make sure I understand that network part.
Yeah.
I initially understood that network thing was if you had a network, which we don't. So am I correct that it applies, so it's $39 per month plus $149 per
Correct.
month in our situation?
Yeah, that's in everybody. I know maybe network is the wrong term, but network or infrastructure maybe would be a better term, network infrastructure. Because though you're on the network, you do. You have computers, right? They do talk to each other in teams.
And printers.
Yeah, you have printers. We'll have a firewall at some point, scanners, and you know, things like that. You know, so you have someone that can go out there right now and use your wireless, right? That's all network. Yes, you don't have a server where everybody networks into, but you do have an actual town network.
Okay.
So we have 4 computers that should be at the $39 a month level, and then we have 4 other ones, is that correct?
6.
That
Maybe
6 other ones?
Maybe 6.
Okay.
It depends on what we pick. Like I haven't talked to Meredith yet about hers upstairs, but But the 10 total included the 2 in the rec department plus all the computers down here.
Well, using 4 and 4, it comes up to just over $401 a month then, $4,800 a year.
But would it be prudent to also use the police department and the fire department computers?
Interesting.
I don't, do you have your own? I guess I don't know.
We access our database through the state network.
No.
But you have security tools in place?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would expect that.
Yeah.
The solicitor's office, because I know they get on the
That's
NEMRIC, when I used to work in there, they get on the NEMRIC,
Yep, they're part of this whole, they're part of the 10.
part of the 10.
Yep.
So, but do you, as a treasurer, get on with like People's or your other banks, no?
Just through their website, but
Oh, through their website, not,
no. Not like a special application, no.
Yeah, but if you're doing direct deposit,
That's through all through NIMRIC.
And NEMRIC backs up all their stuff to the cloud as well, only their stuff, which is great. So that's already backed up. You pay that already per year. And as far as police departments, fire departments, and so forth, yeah, they're all backed up on their own. Really, they have a lot of regulations. We work with many of them. The only time we would never put a police department or even a fire department on a security essential plan. For towns that involve their police and their fire, we make sure that they do a complete, because police and fire, they need to have a place to call, and we want it so that they can call over anything. Because when you start limiting it to you can call, but should we call? Because it's
Right.
every time you call it's money. Some people don't call for little things. When you police and fire, they have to be able to call, pick up the phone, get going, don't even question, and just get back working. And they have a lot of extra security things that we do to protect them and protect everything. Their infrastructure is a little different. So I would allow you to come on the Circuit Essentials if you were to put your police department with us.
I don't know that the fire would need that.
oh,
Yeah.
Not our fire department anyway.
No.
well, not necessarily, and even the rec or the highway. They order stuff off
I don't
Amazon.
think necessarily the highway does, but just based on the usage of the computer, really just they're using it for email, I think, more than anything at this point.
But if you order anything off,
It could still be packed.
yeah,
Sharon does all the ordering, so all the ordering's coming here. So they might
So, but
get
they
it
order
from
through the
Amazon,
computer.
but
because I know at the bank,
Sharon does it for
but
them.
Sharon does it. So they say to Sharon, I want to buy this, and she goes and she orders it.
They
So
still
it's
might,
coming.
you still might want to think about the 29 only because every computer needs to be patched, security patched, have the same AV, have the anti-ransomware, have the third-party patching. That's pretty standard, and if it doesn't get done,
How many
It's-
computers
yeah.
does the fire department have? 2? 3, right? We gave
Three.
them three laptops.
Yeah, and I don't know about the tablets that we have in the trucks.
Well, 3 laptops, and then we got a couple more laptops from Middlebury College. When we get in docking stations.
I know
Yes, I think so.
I know at our work at the bank, if I want to order a part for a boiler or something, we have a computer that's not tied to the network at the bank, so they can't get through.
Right, but we don't have a network here, so that doesn't matter.
And-
Yeah.
Right. But they can still, I would wonder if with Sharon ordering stuff on the World Wide Web,
Yeah.
could it
Oh,
get hacked?
absolutely. Absolutely.
your computer
Yeah, I
is a
mean-
virus.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what this is all
All
opening our
about.
eyes to and trying to get a handle on it. And so I guess the thought process that I had was just to get this building because it was a majority of the computers, and then if we needed to get the highway and the fire and everybody else going on it, that we now had this relationship with them in tech so that we could continue
Or
forward
you can
and
add anytime.
right,
Track.
keep making progress.
Yeah, no, it's not.
So that was just my
Yeah,
personal
so-
thought process.
Just this building so far, what we've talked about, is a little over $5,500 a year.
And a server, if we had a server, that would cost about what?
You just said.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, like for a new
Just to have
server,
it. Yeah.
just to have it.
Yeah.
Probably
That,
build it up, but then you would need to monitor every month, and you're looking at probably, if you were to throw monitoring on this plan, I think it's another 148 a month, just for the server. We do all the patching and the antivirus and ransomware. And
So Jen, do we have something with Nemrick now that we pay for, or is that?
Yeah, so we have the cloud service
Yeah.
through NEMRIC. So we pay a monthly fee for that service, which is, as he was saying, it's backed up offsite versus what we used to have, which was kind of in-house, and then they had to back it up each night, and we had to back it up each night, and that we were doing that on thumb drives and putting thumb drives in the
Yeah.
wall. Now we don't have to do that because NEMRIC does it all. So that's a monthly fee, and then we pay to have the software. That's an annual fee that we split between myself and the listing department.
And I think planning and zoning's on NEMRIC as well.
Yes.
They subscribe to one of the programs.
So I guess my question is, so if we go with this, we disengage with Nemrick?
No, we'd
No.
stay with NEMRIC, but the
Yeah.
advantage is that that while there are obviously other companies that provide this service, because they partner with NEMRIC, anything that they implement as far as, and correct me if I'm wrong, like antivirus software, firewalls, etc., you're going to make sure that NEMRIC still is accessible and able to work, because at some points these other companies don't do that. So then you're calling NEMRIC, and NEMRIC is saying it's not us, it's your tech company, so you're calling the tech company and they're saying it's NEMRIC, so then you're getting in this battle as to try to figure out whose problem it is, and you work together. Is that right?
You are dead on. And another thing to add to that too is, you know, we have been signing up, it's relatively new for us, this partnership, 5-6 months, and we've been signing up a lot of folks, and what we've realized in the past too is not every antivirus that other providers have work with NEMRIC. I've had a couple towns where they have to remove the antivirus completely and have nothing because it won't work. So what we put on is a Sophos product. It's Sophos Endpoint Protection and what they call Intercept X. We use it for our regular clients too. We love it because we can manage it and it works fantastic. The other nice thing is it's tried, tested, and true. It works with all of them. So that's another advantage. Theo made sure of that.
And Dominion Tech is the only group that you've spoken with?
Correct.
Do we have an obligation?
No.
No, we don't have to put it out to bid because it's a service?
The procurement policy allows the select board to sole source, and it also includes a number of exemptions for certain professional services, for a variety of professional services. So it's really at the select board's discretion.
Yes, Ian?
Couple questions.
Yes.
So the file sharing, the web-based file sharing, is that separate from the Office 365 and the cloud sharing through there?
Yep, it's its own cloud. It's a company called Anchor that we use again for our clients. We like it because it has the cloud sharing, which is fantastic, but also more importantly, it has the backup.
Okay.
So now all the yes, NEMRIC does all the NEMRIC software backup. That's it. The backup for local files or drafts that you may do, you know, the folks may do or whatever, if they don't back it up themselves,
Right.
this gives a cloud backup, so if they lose a thumb drive or if they lose it, their computer dies or what have you, grab it, pull it right down, they have it right there.
And what about ransomware? If we get stuck by ransomware, it's backed up.
It's backed up.
Yeah.
Yes, that's one of the biggest, right, importance to get your data back, and so you're not losing a day or two of town work. It's all backed up for you.
Is it something where with Office 365, do those two mixes? Is the file sharing primarily for backup of machines, and then for town documents that would be part of the Office 365, that whole kind of network? Or is it a mixture? How do you separate those two things out?
Well, you can either, it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, that you use 365 right now for some file sharing.
Correct.
That can continue, and that's backed up, you know, in the cloud by 365.
Yeah.
But this will kind of, you know, in a sense, kind of a double backup, so that things that they don't have in the teams or whatever, their own personal stuff, or if someone's, you know, making a land draft or that it isn't anywhere, it stays on the computer.
Right.
Now it has a home that can be retrievable if their computer dies, or if they don't back it up and they hit something, oh my gosh, right? Everybody's nowhere to go, right? Now you're just, hey, Dominion Tech help, and we just go, we grab it, and here it is.
And in terms of the firewall, is it a hardware based? You put it on the entire network, or do you do it per computer?
Yeah, so the firewall, the one that we suggest is any firewall you want. It's a hardware base. It's like a little mini, looks like that, sitting up there. It would go in their back room, and what it does, the advantages of that obviously is any internet that comes in, you know, do we accept it, do we not? Do we let it through or do we block it? That's the main thing. But then also, which I think will work great here, is you can set up a internal staff team network and then a public network. So when you all are coming here now and you log on, you can be on the public network and you have your own code to get on, which is open to the public, but it doesn't affect any of the team's network. They have their own and it separates, and that's huge for security. All that can be done right in a firewall. Just add a couple permissions. And it'll also do things like, you know, monitor content, keep gambling and maybe things you don't want people to go to in sites like that. Nobody does that, but just in case, obviously, right, it allows that not to happen. You can set permissions to allow people to do things or not do things.
Further questions, Mike? So I believe we have several options. One is we could make a motion to accept this at the recommendation, I'm assuming, of our town clerk.
Yes, recommended as far as timing of recommendation,
Yeah.
that I would like to further discuss with you.
Okay.
But yes, recommend.
Or we could ask to talk to some other folks before we make a decision, or we can just say, nah, we don't need it, which isn't.
Probably not one of the options.
No, I don't think.
No.
Oh, the third one's probably not one of them.
No, I didn't want to.
Scratch that.
I didn't want to try to influence
Well,
anything.
the do nothing is always an option.
It is an option, but probably not a good one.
And you can discuss it in executive session too if you need to.
So do we want to wait and do that?
Well, if she has stipulations, we probably ought to hear them before we make a decision.
Yes.
Thanks.
Okay. So we will move forward. Thank you.
Okay.
So we'll get back to you one way or the other.
Yes, no, yeah. Any other questions that pop up in discussion with any of you folks or anybody, and obviously not available.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me.
That's what he does.
That's what I do. I do. I'm all over the state.
Yeah.
I'm getting to
It's
know the
almost
select
like your
boards
job.
quite well, right? Imagine that.
Yeah.
That's my job.
Yeah.
Y'all have a wonderful evening. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you too. Oh, budget workshop, general fund, capital budget, and plan.
It's actually an interesting segue. I wonder if you can follow up a little bit with what Jen just mentioned about you having some thoughts about something for this fiscal year. Is that right?
I wasn't sure if I did have any thoughts about this fiscal year at this current moment, but I can gather those. But if you want to do that now, we can.
The select board does not have an updated general fund budget sheet for this meeting. It just didn't come together in time. But you do have a capital budget draft with you. So we'll follow up on general fund details at the next meeting next month.
Okay, so capital budget.
So the capital budget table that that's in your packet, it's still a work in progress, but it gives you some idea of a way to look at the total capital budget picture. And there's extra copies up here of stuff if anybody wants copies of these things. I took the information from the town report and consolidated these, and it goes out, I included FY19, which is this current fiscal year, just as a frame of reference, but it's typically the upcoming budget year, which is 2020, and then it's 5 years out, so it's a 6-year plan. And it's really helpful to be able to see how things really stack up when you add them all together. And what our total borrowing capacity is, or how much money the town is actually investing in capital projects, infrastructure, debt, reserve funds. And it's a tool to help us plan ahead for other capital projects and to try to pace them so that the spending, it's a kind of a constant, it's not a lot of spikes. It's, I'm drawing a blank on the word I want, but it's even, as even as possible, while still meeting our needs. And now, that won't always be possible to do, but some things will come up that might be higher priority, and we might have to rearrange some things or delay some things, but this helps us kind of look at the big picture. And if you look at page 3, just above table 6, which is the police department, the total of all of the investments in reserve funds and debt total about a consistent $1,180,000 or in that, at least now in these current years, but then you can see it drops off. The capacity appears to increase as the years go out. So that means if we want to maintain a level investment in capital beginning in FY 2023, we have increased capacity to do that. We're still waiting on a little bit of information to clarify some of the debt schedule. So these numbers are likely to change. There's really not a lot to do with this.
A question, because I was trying to figure this out, and so these columns all go all the way down to page 3, and that's where our total is?
Right.
Okay.
Table 1 is comprised of A, B, and C, and that ends on page 2. And that's just a snapshot of all the capital projects planned. That's not specifically calculated in that other number that I just pointed out to on page 3. Those are planned expenses. So you can see what you're looking at in the years out. But what that number on page 3 does include are reserve funds and debt. Pretty sure it doesn't include the projects, because that would be redundant.
So the reason the number is decreasing is because debt will be paid off? Is
Right,
that?
right. Or other things aren't on the list, or the range of projects just aren't as expensive.
It's out far enough so that we don't have something there to buy yet.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I don't think that those numbers will remain there because
Stuff happens.
apparatus and equipment is not going to get less expensive.
That's not gonna happen.
No, no.
Right. And let's see, table 3, the debt payments. There's the committed loans that we know about, or we're trying to get a handle on. I'm trying to get a handle on. And then there's projected loans. So you can kind of see if those move forward, what that will look like, but they're not committed yet.
Valerie, under table 3, the 3rd page, 5th line down, water line bond.
Yep.
But that's a bond that comes out of the water department's annual budget, or no?
Split.
It's split?
You're talking about the Holly Hall water line?
No.
No.
That's Holly Hall bond, and it says water line bond.
Under water and sewer system
No,
improvements?
under Holly Hall
Oh,
Water
they're Holly
Project.
Hall
Oh.
water.
Right,
Oh,
that's,
okay.
So that's
that's
100.
split. So where it says Holly Hall is what comes out of Holly Hall, and where it says water is what comes out of water.
Oh, that was
Do
the,
the indents, and
Is
that
that
was
the water line that was down Plank Road or up North Street?
No, must be from
Or-
here.
That's a speaker. That was pretty neat.
Yeah, definitely pre-me. And that's a good question. I mean,
Should it be there or?
it
leave
should
the
not
water-
be there, and that's why this is a draft.
Okay.
Okay.
No, that's a very good catch. So yes, the enterprise funds, which are the water department and the sewer department, they should not be reflected in this capital budget. Just like the police is in a separate section.
Because I know.
yeah, actually, the portion of the water line that goes from West Street to Lover's Lane should be in this budget.
Right, that's the.
And the stormwater and that should be in this budget, but the West Street water line should not.
Yeah.
And the North Street water bond should not.
Right.
I think that water bond peaker it says for 40 years, I believe that's the water tank.
Nope.
Is it? Okay.
Where, see the
I thought we
coding?
bored it for 40 years on
So if
that.
you look at the commit, where it says committed loans, all the way over to the left, if you see the coding, see where it says 003,
Yeah, oh,
006?
yeah,
Yep.
003 means that's designated water funds, which
Right.
means the water department pays for that.
Oh,
Which would
okay.
mean that that's something that is not included in your general fund budget.
right, so that should come out.
So the one under Holly Hall Water Project Bond, that should stay in there, because that's a 001.
Well, so the water line portion of that is coded to the water. The Holly Hall portion is coded to the general fund. So as Peter was talking, like your West Street project,
Mhm.
it's gonna be split like that as well. A portion's gonna come from the general fund, and then a portion's gonna come from the water fund.
So the storm, but the West Street Stormwater Bond, I thought that was all water. And the
No.
water
No.
line.
Stormwater is the catch basins and the culverts and stuff that cross the road.
Right, so the West Street Water Bond,
It's all in the same bond,
well, right, yeah,
but
I
it's
get that.
split into three.
Well, it'll just be two,
Two,
is what it will be, because stormwater and going over the hill, I think we're
You can
agreed
put
that
together.
we put together.
Okay.
So when we voted, I think it was a percentage of like 55 and 45 or 50 something and 40 something to split.
okay.
Yeah, but I see where you guys are reading that, but that's all under, it says fire station bond at 1.54, then everything else is, let's call it all that West Street and going down over the hill.
They just, because we don't have a payment for it at this point in time.
I'm looking at the ones
You're looking at
just
higher.
below Howden Hall lift, it says water and sewer system improvement bonds.
Right, those should not be there.
Those shouldn't be there.
And the sewer bond should be.
In the sewer bond, yes.
Good.
When we talked about last month about want to improve the sewer system, that's what I want to.
Right,
Well, you have more money if you leave it there, you'll have more money in the
Well, we'll have more.
until the accountants catch it and put it back where it
Exactly.
I have two
Right.
questions. What's the Martha Parker Fund?
That is the fund that we were left $17,000 and we cannot use it. We have to continue to invest it and we can only use the interest.
That's
And
what-
what can we use the interest for?
How's
I
all
think
just been
it's to
computers,
your,
isn't it? How's
we
that?
have used it for computers, but I
No, I don't.
I
Remember
have to read
Therese
it.
was here and
We did get a
Penny before
computer.
then, you've got.
Where are you seeing that?
Yeah, where are
On
you
the
looking?
contributions to
Bottom of
reserve
Table
fund.
two. Table two.
Contribution to reserve
Well, and
fund.
then the Federal Peak Holly
Oh,
Hall,
37.
Holly Hall Fund, I thought we had designated that to go towards the acoustics.
Yes, so we had opted to not dump that into the acoustics fund until they were
Until that's all they
needed
had
it
left?
for the project, and they haven't at this point needed it for the project.
Okay.
Because that project is 24,000 in the red.
Well, kind of, but not really. That's just your loan. That's the loan that you all
Okay.
opted
The
to
Holly Hall
take for
acoustics,
the revolving loan.
revolving loan fund,
Right.
so it owes,
25K.
yeah. And some of these, like the capital paving fund on that same table, which is -40, it's my understanding that that is negative because this year's appropriation hasn't been made to it yet.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, what's the other one? Acoustic fund is-
So as we move forward with some of the other agenda items, like undesignated reserve or undesignated fund balances and other things, and just budgeting it forward, we can hopefully this might be, once it's updated, it can be a helpful tool. I met with Eric this morning about Public Works equipment, and I've begun putting a table together, and I'll be doing it for the other departments too, of kind of the capital equipment, and again, a snapshot view of what there is, how old it is, the useful life, the expected replacement cost. So we can have that as a reference point as well, so we can look to that and see where they need to be slotted on this tool.
Yeah, I guess I'll ask them, the last line on that first page, Peter reported it out last meeting, that probably that's not enough.
For what?
The grader?
Yeah, the grader, no, the grader's not.
The grader's not on here.
Here it is.
Chipper or
$280.
grader?
Which one?
200. Guy in down there.
That was guy.
Well, no, that may be enough. With our
trade
trade,
and-
with our trade
and
and
the
the municipal
discount.
discount, that may be, it'll be close.
Yeah.
But
That's in two more years.
if we wait that long, that's,
Start with that.
yeah, if we wait that long, it won't be enough money. The other thing is that these vehicles that are on here, we don't have, the two trucks we don't have anymore.
Okay,
Yeah,
The 2009 and the 2013.
right, they're gone.
good to know.
So this says we have $708,000 in the sidewalks fund?
No, that's the total.
That's the total.
It's negative, actually, it's negative 40, that's
Okay,
in the sidewalk fund,
okay, so this is
yeah,
based on,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah, 708 is the total sum of all
Okay.
those particular
Okay,
reserve
well, It
funds.
said balance 1231, so that's why I was confused.
Yeah.
I'm like, really?
Boy, we could do the whole day on that.
So, no action is necessary on this particular
No.
thing, but just wanted to bring it to your attention and get your feedback, which is
This is
helpful.
what you were talking about doing for us so that we could understand. it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I first looked at it, it didn't, I couldn't. I couldn't, that's why I had to ask.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, that makes it a lot simpler.
Yeah.
And I'm also working with Eric and others to come up with narrative descriptions of what some of these assets are, so that there's a reference to go to for folks like me who are getting up to speed on things. It's right there and all in one place, and it's available to other people. to
Yeah, like putting
understand.
galleon, you know, great,
Put the
would greater would have
Yeah,
been nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a galleon, yeah.
Right.
Figure.
Gallon of
And
water.
actually,
Down the water.
I think there's a goal of moving this up to FY20. So that needs to be updated and swapping it with the pickup truck.
Well, the 2009 has been replaced with the Mac, which I don't, that's what, 2 years old? And the 2013 was replaced with the 18 that we bought this year.
Mhm.
We moved that one up.
Mhm.
So those two need to be changed,
Yep,
need to be put somewhere else on the list.
yep.
And the grader, we're supposed to be, I should have a hard number for you within a week or so.
Oh, great.
An actual number, not a proposed number, an actual number.
Great. Yeah, there was an earlier discussion of swapping the grader with
Pickup.
the Ford, yeah,
Yeah.
the V
Oh,
Ford.
it's pretty close.
33,000.
Not.
The money is there.
Under the, way up the top,
Yeah.
you don't have a year for the replacement of the heavy rescue, you've just got a total cost. It's number 2.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah.
Isn't that truck being rolled into another truck though?
Well, they're
They're getting rid of
getting rid of
they're-
the utility,
utility and
the
the heavy
99
rescue.
utility, and then this new heavy rescue, and I know there is a year on,
his
it's,
capital
the
plan.
2 trucks are gonna be replaced with 1.
Yeah.
The heavy, and,
When?
You know,
well, that's my question, and it's on, Brett has it
It's
on
on
his.
Brett's
yeah,
plan, I
yeah,
don't remember
yeah.
when it was, I don't remember what it is, but.
there is with loaders and graders, there's a municipal discount, and if you can figure out the years, you can trade it's either every 7 or every 5 years for about $3,000 a year. Because the minute you take this grader in, because of the 25% municipal discount, you get it on your, it's one of the things that actually appreciates when you get it on your
Right, okay,
property.
yeah. Mhm.
Because it goes back, when it's traded in, it goes back to the rate that the construction industry pays.
Mhm.
So, you know, it appreciates like $80,000 the minute you pull it on. So you can run it for 5 to 7 years and trade it at that higher rate and still get the municipal discount and end up,
In good shape, yeah.
you end up not buying, you basically end up doing no repairs and you're always running a piece of equipment that's under warranty. But it's a tough, it's a tough leap to make to go from 20 years to 5 years.
Yeah. But if you could somehow calculate how much you paid in
Well,
repairs over
yeah.
those 15 years.
I mean, if we're 20 years, we're paying $15,000 a year.
For
If we-
repair, which doesn't
Well,
take
no,
long.
in payments.
Yeah.
Because it's 300,000,
Yeah.
so.
Mhm.
So 20 years is $15,000 a year.
Yeah.
It's cheaper to.
In 5 years.
Well,
it's
and
3,000.
that's, that 300,000 doesn't include repairs.
Right,
Right,
right.
right. Which aren't cheap.
No.
All right, just be aware of that when you find the
Right,
Brett's
yep,
schedule.
will do. All right, and I'll look forward to your info and I'll put that in here. And I'll get an updated copy.
All right, continued review of town meeting warning. Well, we did receive some information late today.
Yeah, it seems to work that way. But before we go there, I want to follow up on a conversation we had last meeting, and we were talking about the order of articles and the general fund being Article 6. I met with Peter Ryan last week, and he pointed out and reminded me that in the budget that gets approved, that at the very tail end of it, all the different funds are broken out separately. So it's not the aggregate general fund number that's in Article 6, but it's specifically the operating fund. That does not include
All the
those
appropriations.
other
Right,
things. And that number is broken out at the bottom of the budget page, and that's the number that's used in that article. So that helped clarify why that.
Why they're separate.
Right, and that is not
It
redundant.
would make it awful convoluted if they weren't.
Right,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
yeah.
Well, yes and no, we just say,
It's done.
it's done, yeah. But,
Lump sum.
But then,
That
yeah,
would,
you wouldn't be able to argue over it at all.
Well, you could, I mean,
well, not once it's
Not-
done.
not once it's done, right,
You'd already
right.
passed it, not
right.
knowing that
But
it-
during that time, you could.
Mhm.
But anyway, so I just wanted to clarify that.
So we're still waiting for, I'm guessing, two more, what's the word, petition?
Oh, the Article 13, I don't believe we've received that one yet from the Charter House.
And I don't see anything for the Recreation Club, which,
They decided to keep their appropriation.
oh, they did.
Okay.
They're supposed to call you today.
I did receive an email today
Okay, from Troy.
from the bookkeeper person. Yeah.
And these
Text
two.
went out. Text went out this morning, we decided to keep it the same.
They have not been received yet.
Yes, I sent them
When?
last week,
Oh, okay,
or the week, yeah, last week.
okay, well, it hasn't trickled down yet.
Oh, okay.
So,
He's telling you now.
No, it's in writing,
Yeah.
and it's dated.
So Ted was just saying that the 4th of July Committee and the Historical Society requests have been received. I received the Family Center's request today as well,
That's-
and the Recreation Club.
That's not an increase, it's just,
And that's the same.
just
Yeah.
want to be there.
Yeah.
So that's all you have to do, is say I
Yeah.
want to be there.
The Family Center did give a heads up that they might be interested in increasing their allocation and asked about the process to do so. So we might be seeing something next year from them. Article 15 was drafted prior to receiving the email late this afternoon about undesignated fund balances and the process for dealing with those. So I expect this is something we'll probably circle back on next week when we have a little bit more.
We should update the date to 2018.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Well, you mean the reference to the undesignated reserve fund? Well, that was from the June 30th audit, 2017 audit. We don't have the 18 audit yet.
oh, okay.
But,
Okay, if you're gonna use that, I guess if you're gonna use that number for your, Because then you'd have to take out the $17,000, because that's in your 2018 fund balance.
Ah,
So you'd have to pay.
gotcha.
So for fiscal year 2018, there
If you
was,
change it to 2018, you can keep the $17,000 in there, but
Okay.
really all you need to do is earmark that money. It's money that's gonna be surplus money because we didn't put it
no,
anywhere and we didn't use it in time. So it's really just earmarking fund balance money. The other two bullet points are,
Now, looking at those 2 bullet points, those relate back to table 3 on the capital plan. And those loans there. Now, just putting it out there, those are the loans, those are the 2 loans that have the least remaining principal. But we also might want to look at which ones have the highest interest rates.
mhm,
Well, it would make more sense because you're not paying a lot of interest on either of those loans.
Mhm.
It would make more sense to pay off something that has a higher interest rate.
but I don't think you have that much money.
We don't have,
That's the difference.
Well,
Right.
when we talked about, you're saying, well, that was different money. We talked about, when we
yeah,
sold
we,
the land, maybe we pay down the bridge. That.
The bridge is
Pretty well
not
done.
that much money.
No.
I think that's a 5-year.
The South Street Bridge?
Yeah, you guys signed a 5-year in August.
It is over the
And it's 10 years on here. South Street Bridge says 10.
And it's my understanding that
Yeah.
bonded debt can't be paid back early, is my understanding.
We would have to research that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we had that discussion once that you couldn't pay them off early, but.
It'd be good to get those out of the way.
Maybe that one
Refinance
here
them.
again, that's one of the
Yeah.
lowest, 1.6.
yeah, anything we
South
can pay
Street Bridge,
off.
1.6.
Right.
I mean, the interest rates are 195 and 1.
Right.
But still, it's,
Yeah, exactly.
I
yeah,
mean, I think that the thought process is it's doing the same as designating X amount of dollars to reduce the tax rate,
Right.
because you're now not having a payment to make. So either you keep making the payments and you stay on the schedule and you use money to offset your tax rate, or you offset the tax rate by paying off your debt.
Bill of credit.
There you go.
Okay, so we're just talking about the undesignated fund, the 212. But of that 212, isn't that the 5% that we keep 5% of that? Or 5%
And 5% of what?
of the,
5% of what?
Our operating budget.
Just the operating budget, not the voted, so I guess,
Yeah, just the budget,
it's usually around about 105,000, 100.
which is kind of what this thing says that we were.
yeah.
so does that includes highway and recreation and voted appropriations?
Tell us what it is and we'll tell you if we're happy.
So,
That might be a, you know,
No, I think it's just a general on the highway funds that,
that might be
I mean, the rec,
computer
but the
question.
rec department is part of our general fund.
Right.
So
So
the
it's
general
highway.
fund, the highway fund, yeah, whatever that is,
I think
but
it's all of
not the appropriations, I don't.
No,
it.
not
I
the,
think it's
Not the
the appropriations,
appropriations.
but I'm pretty sure it's everybody's
Yeah,
operating.
all the,
Yeah, but it's 105, that's about 2 million. That would be about all the funds,
Mhm.
with the exception of the appropriations.
Yeah.
Maybe fire, library.
and the voted appropriations include the reserve fund allocations.
Oh,
In this.
but, no, it's just on the operating budget because it's a rainy day fund in the
Right.
event that something with the operating budget goes wrong.
those were, right.
So looking back at, I know you don't have this one in front of you, but so just the line of operating. Is that
yes,
right?
yes.
But that includes the fire budget, the rec budget, you
Well,
know, the
No,
highway
rec is
budget.
different, right? Recreation
But
is
it's
different
part
art.
of your.
But it's part of our
It's part of
operating
your
budget.
operating budget, so you have to include
Yeah,
that in
okay.
the highway.
So, 53, treasure surplus, recreation, 274, 706 equals 1,200,000 plus times,
5%.
5%.
61,400.
No, it's not right.
That's smaller.
That's not right.
So maybe we're including all the appropriations.
It's typically right around, the last 10 years, it's been right around 100, between 95 and 110,000.
Okay.
No, we can discuss that when we,
Yeah.
It'd be a question for Pete Ryan, he could clarify that for us pretty easy. I would
Well,
think.
I asked him that,
you know,
And he didn't?
and wasn't sure. Maybe I didn't ask the right question.
You're not doing the supported by taxes, are you? Are you doing supported by taxes or are you
Total
doing
ex-
the total?
Total expenditures.
Expenditures.
Yeah, at the very bottom of the budget page, I think. So, yeah, total expenditures. Well, we can certainly circle back on that and clarify, but it's your recollection that it's 5% of something,
Right.
and that you keep as undesignated.
Basically a rainy day fund.
Yeah.
emergency fund, if
Right.
something,
And then in the
Major.
email that came this afternoon,
yeah.
there was the question of process about how you actually tap into it. Does it require voter approval? And I haven't had a chance to really review that.
We've
Yeah.
been fortunate enough that we haven't had to.
When I just added your proposed together, it got, and then multiplied it times 5%, it was at 102.
Yeah,
That sounds right.
yeah. Well, just in a,
954, the 812, the 275.
in a quick review of that email, in very quick review, it appeared like as long as we put it in the general budget with a line saying what it was, that then we can use it as needed.
Yeah.
Right.
And the voters don't have to vote for a specific
Right.
Right.
thing.
That was
Well, and
mine.
that's why
That was my read.
that's why it's there as a rainy day fund, in case something
Yeah.
catastrophic happens,
Yeah.
we, you know.
But in
But
this,
we have to put it as a line item, is what
yeah,
they're
because
saying.
currently it's not.
Right.
And the number that I was using,
So where does that, but it must also go in the revenue line,
it would, or well,
because we're not if you just
Right.
put it in the, if you just put it in
Expense
the
line is
line
gonna go-
as an expense, and we're gonna
Right.
raise it by taxes.
Right.
And that's
Oh,
not
right.
No, it's true.
That's not the object.
No, it's not. Yeah, and I don't know if this has happened before, where it's built up to the level where it is now, where we do have some money that we can do
something significant.
something, yes, to help out the taxpayers in one way or another, whether we pay off a debt or put it toward a project that would have come out of the taxpayers.
right.
I
So
mean, it
the-
did come out of the taxpayers, but it won't be more.
The 212 figure that I cited comes from the 2017 audit. We don't know the number yet for what the 2018 audit's going to present to us, but it'll be a consolidated figure, and Jen estimated, or thinks it's over $300,000, but we don't know
But
for
that's
sure.
because 17 of it is some sidewalk money.
Yeah,
17 out of 300?
Yes, plus,
Right.
I think, I don't know if you guys budget for a West Street payment? If you did that, we haven't made that payment.
Oh,
But if we did, we should still use it for West Street.
Oh, yeah.
But
You
that's
know.
already, I mean, so then you'd have to earmark,
Right,
you know what I'm saying, you know what
yes.
I'm, okay. Sorry.
so West Street,
I mean, that's what we've done in the past. If we anticipated a payment and for some reason the loan documents
Come through.
didn't come through, we still used that money.
Which is
to
what
make
Make
we've
the
done
payment,
with South
right.
Street Bridge, so
Right.
some of that is South Street Bridge, because that payment, even though we agreed to do it in June, it didn't get paid till July, so they said it has to get bumped to this year, so we'll overexpend this year. So that'll eat up some of that money. So until I get a solid number, I won't really know what's not spoken for, I guess.
so it might be kind of a challenge to know what kind of number
Or
to
you can
put.
pay off until we have
Yeah.
that information.
Yeah, and on table 3, in the debt table, you can see the West Street bonds are listed, but with some projected payment schedules based upon the conversation we had, I think it was December or November, about that $100,000 contribution and whether it should be reduced to $50,000, which happened. So that payment schedule is based upon that projection.
Or you could split Article 15 out and put your 17,000 to the capital sidewalk fund from the June 30, 2018 funds. And then pay your 2 debts with your 2017 funds, because you know that you have enough money to pay those debts with your 17 funds.
Am I looking at this right? There's about $80,000, a little over $80,000 in the 3 payments to the West Street project for 2020. I seen that right, Jennifer? 2018 West Street water bond, 20,816. The next one under it, 11,632, and then jump down. 76 West Street. No, excuse me, different.
Yeah, because that's not it.
Different. Well, I'm trying to find that.
So you're looking at 32, 33 grand.
Well, those 2018 are just 2 payments for water and the stormwater bond. Where is the other payment there?
No, some of that's water.
Right. One of them says West Street water bond,
Yeah.
and the other one says West Street stormwater
Which
bond.
is all, that number should be all, that should be stormwater plus going over the hill.
I guess that project was broke down into 3 projects,
Wow.
3 payments, wasn't it?
No, we have it into 2.
Water and sewer bond, and then general, the digging and redoing the road.
Because like, as Peter was saying earlier, I mean, maybe from your perspective it was 3 projects, but 2 of those projects are combined into the general fund,
So that
which is
six,
the stormwater.
so that
The
$600,000 or
storm-
$700,000 payment for that whole project, I think it was $700,000, it was $31,000 a year payment. Am I
I don't know where you're seeing that.
That's table 3, the ones without codes.
yeah.
Right, but I don't,
19, it's
Are
the
you
bottom of
adding-
table 3, right above the total.
Yep.
You got 20,000, you got 11,000.
oh, okay, so you're looking at, okay, sorry, I was looking at the wrong one.
So 33,000 is the payment on those for,
I guess that'd be 20 years then, so that'll be about
well, it says 40
40
years
years.
there.
yeah,
Yeah.
40 years.
Yes.
Yeah, just over $1 million then, yeah. $1,075,000 there. It says the amount, I'm sorry, it's parentheses, the amount to those 2 bonds were. Could we, just value?
Which I think they'll be a little bit, that seems like a high number.
Yeah, we'll take another look at that.
I thought that project came in under.
Is that,
It
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
It added
That's
up
a
to
high
more like
number.
800 something, yeah. Okay.
Further questions?
On which?
Well, have we bonded, have
Actually,
have
what
we
do we-
bonded for that project yet? We haven't, have we?
For the West Street?
Yeah. I mean, I thought the intent on that project was to, the majority of the money for the stormwater was gonna be paid. And we weren't gonna bond for it, cause Pete had money in his budget.
You guys did the.
It was
your
100 and
50.
something $1,000 that was dedicated to that, to the stormwater portion of that, so that we didn't end up financing that.
You might have missed that meeting where the question was whether to reduce that to $50,000 because other capital projects were coming up. That
You're still
$50,000.
gonna have to bond,
You mean I might have been gone?
I think it,
not Peter.
You were on vacation.
I did though, I went twice, I missed 2 meetings, and I'm going again.
Okay, so we're good with the warning to this point? It's still a work in progress, obviously.
yep.
Okay.
Just one last question to Jennifer is the reappraisal fund that finished the year out, so all the past reappraisal we just finished up in June, July for the years, that bill's all paid, we're all done, so that's, and we're putting,
And we had decided not to put anything in that.
You did it last year, correct?
we didn't last year. And what was the appraisal cost this year to do the appraisal?
I don't know, because it was over 2 years' time, so I'd have to get a contract. We made a monthly payment for 2 years.
If we get 10 years, 8 to 10 years.
And I talked to Craig about it the other day, asking if he thought we needed to start
Put a
adding
little
to
in.
it again, and he was thinking that, I think you can get by once with doing a statistical reappraisal, and he was thinking that in 7 or 8 years, maybe we do just a statistical, and then in another 7 or 8 years, do another full reappraisal. I can't speak to the difference, because I don't know what the difference is, but that's what he was thinking. So.
Okay, moving on.
Can we go back for a minute though? We were talking about the undesignated fund balance. The numbers that you have, the currently undesignated funds are listed, and you have the 2017 and the 3 up above that. The Stony Hill one, that money is received.
Yeah.
Other than the difference
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah, and as noted, we're going out of that fund, or both of them combined, or whatever. We're still on the hook
The
for
infrastructure.
infrastructure.
Right. The Lover's Lane, is that the right amount?
No, I thought it was more than that.
That's the net. It was 185,
Yeah.
and then we had to pay the state, like 67,000.
Oh,
So we
Then
got
there-
a note from them as exactly what needed to come out.
Right, yeah, finally,
Right, that's
like
what I
at the
wanted-
11th
that's what I
hour.
was
Yeah.
asking, yeah.
all right, okay.
So that's the
I was
net.
thinking you were gonna take it out of that one. Well, wait a minute. We might have better off to keep it.
So there may have been discussions before my time about what was expected for those funds, but I don't know. So I thought it would be worth having a conversation.
Okay.
All right, now we'll move on.
Thank you.
Revolving loan fund, considering writing off the Liz Lovely debt due to bankruptcy. I guess, Michelle, last meeting you said you've done some research on that,
Yeah, we're cooked.
or there's no way we'll ever get anything. I mean, so basically, this is just cleaning up the record for the bank.
So moved. We remove it from the revolving.
I have a motion and a second to remove it. Discussion?
Well, I guess I just have to ask, so. Going over lady. But if she asks for a loan in 5 years in a different state, and they go and do her check and they say, you haven't been, you filed bankruptcy back 10 years ago, and
We won't get paid.
I realize we
Right.
won't get paid, but will he or she, that company, go down that road again and get money from somebody else and then go belly up again and say, boy, we might not lend her the money if we know she went belly up once before. I
Well,
just,
they could do a
I
bankruptcy
said leave it on,
check
well,
and
absolutely.
they could do a background check and look at the financials to know
And they
that. I mean,
should.
we could do the same too. I don't know if we do. I don't know if the revolving loan fund does, but, you know. But that's a big thing to look at. I mean, if she was,
$22 out of 75,000?
Yeah.
Interest only.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay.
Motion passes.
Principal only.
4-1.
That's not a principal.
Consider recommendations for use of the Andrew Johnson bequest. Joel, please.
Sorry.
And we have a very lengthy list. The community did come together, or not come together, but, what'd you say, Valerie, like 50 different people responded with 70 suggestions?
Correct.
and-
And I found one more that I had overlooked initially from November, reiterating support for solar panels and renewable energy.
So.
Too late to add to this?
No.
Good.
Well, not for us. Valerie and I had that conversation. So in what we talked about this afternoon, and I'll throw this suggestion out there, is how we're going to narrow this down is, we'll pick a number and I'll say 5 to get started. Each of us picks 5 of these maybe areas of, because there's several for solar panels, there's several for other areas that each of us would rate as our top 5. If one of us has another suggestion, make sure the rest of us know about it, so that goes, we have the opportunity to respond to that
How
as
do we
well.
do that?
Email. Or send it.
So in other
I do
words-
have another suggestion.
Okay, well, you can do it right now then.
So in other words, tonight is round 1, and round 2 or 3 might be
Well,
later.
that's my question. I don't know if people are prepared to pick your top 5 or
Right.
whatever number tonight. But I'm throwing that, and then when we get that, if we end up with 3 or 4 that jump right to the top, that are thoroughly, then we might break it down from there. And obviously, we might choose 3 or 4 different ones to support however we want to do this. But I think that's just an easier way to be able to get our arms around this, because right now, there's so many different things that.
Well, they're kind of in groups though.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm
Well,
saying.
Yeah, it
And-
almost looks like there was collusion.
So there's an extra copy up there if anyone needs it.
And,
But
if-
I just have a quick question. One of the suggestions in here is the electric charging station, but Ian, you're working on that, right, with the state, so really that's not, I mean, if that's gonna come to fruition, is there really gonna be something that you would need extra?
Probably not. We would
Yeah.
probably seek grant options to do that.
And it's like the paving project, there's 3 or 4 of those, that's going to get done, so
The
that's
state's doing that,
taking
yeah.
off.
Okay.
And there are some standalones in there that, there's, I'm just looking, 3 different people say invest the money and use the returns only, and different things, if that's something.
I personally, that, trees were his life, and
Exactly.
that's
Yeah.
my thought, is
Yeah.
you invest the money and we use it for tree
Yeah.
replacement
Yeah.
around the village.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Removal and replacement.
That was going to be my suggestion.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
what did it
that's-
guide?
I mean, there are a number here that suggest
Yeah.
trees.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
on
there
there.
is.
Well, there are portions
Yeah.
of several of these
Yeah.
that can be incorporated
Right.
into such a,
Yeah, but I think if we get it down to a handful, and then we start incorporating those,
Yeah.
those types of things, then we might be able
What's
to
the
do it.
interest on that?
CD rates are
2%.
2.5,
Yeah.
Orwell's 2.65, we just haven't looked at that today.
So $2,500. What do we run for a tree replacement
We
fund
don't
now?
have one.
0.
Zero. So anything anytime we
We
want
do tree
to,
removal. is-
anytime we want to replace a tree with one we've removed, we have to find the money to do it.
Right.
and
So,
Which is one reason why in the previous agenda item in my notes, I mentioned we might want to consider adding a new reserve fund for tree
Yeah.
replacements,
Exactly.
tree maintenance and
with
replacement.
this,
Yes.
just, there's a
the
possibility
Andrew
there.
Johnson Fund.
Yep.
But that's exactly what the library does. They have 3 funds
Yeah.
like that that contribute to the operation of the
Yeah.
library.
I mean, it didn't open our eyes here when we were doing the budget, but, like, was it last year when we finally woke up and said, we're never gonna catch up on our sidewalks?
Mhm.
We were putting, $15,000 a year, we upped it to 40, and, we should be putting some money into replacing trees.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and it's like
This
when
is
Doug
the perfect
Perkins was
way to
here,
do it, too.
if you take one down, we need to replace it. I
Yeah.
think that's just logical.
I mean, $2,500 a year isn't going to replace a lot of trees,
No.
but you've got
You can supplement that from other,
Yeah.
$2,500
Yeah.
every year in that
The-
line
Yeah.
from that,
yeah.
depending on what.
Well, depending on the, the
4 or 5
interest rates
trees a year.
continue to grow, and some years it'll be good, and then when it
Yeah.
drops, you get next to nothing.
I was planning to bring this up at another time, but I'll give you a heads up now. One of the things I was planning to suggest at some point, based upon a lot of public input we've gotten on different situations, is considering becoming a Tree City USA through the Arbor Day Foundation. And they have some basic criteria, but it's not a very onerous threshold to meet. But one of them is having a budget of $2 per person, per capita, as for a tree budget, and which for Bristol would be around $8,000. So, and in just this last year alone, trees have been a significant focus and expense for one reason or another. And so that's why I was thinking that perhaps a reserve fund of some sort, so that the money rolls over from year to year, it doesn't just go away at the end.
Right.
And if we don't spend it, it continues to accumulate
Yeah.
and becomes a good resource.
Well, there are a lot of trees in the village that are near the end of their life.
Right.
Yeah.
Or
Some
maybe
of them
TLC
actually,
to
some
stay
of them
longer.
look dangerous.
I
Right.
think of the 2 big maples were in front of my house, they're gone.
Yeah.
Replacing it.
Yeah.
There's all the chips on the ground around one on Garfield Street,
Yeah.
pileated woodpeckers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have it
Well, when you're
blast.
talking
Yes.
tree replacement, you're talking town-owned trees or.
Yeah.
Right.
town-
Yeah, the
Public.
entire,
I was gonna
Yes.
say, you're gonna have to be careful what you're talking about.
Public-
You
public
can't
trees.
be
Oh,
coming
right.
into your,
Yeah.
saying,
Oh, I knew that.
replace my tree.
Yeah.
I think, you know, like we're gonna do with the one on Maple Street that was between the sidewalk and the edge,
Yeah.
and the owner agreed to put it on the other side of the
Yeah.
sidewalk, we're going to do that. I wouldn't mind if we said, you know, if an owner said, you know, I wanna put one just inside the sidewalk, you wanna buy the tree, we'll put it in. You know, kind of, we'll pay, or
Yeah.
we'll put it in ourselves, dig the hole or something,
Yeah.
you know? So we could get a lot more bang for our buck, so to speak.
Yeah, but if you want a warranty on the tree, we don't wanna be planting it.
No, you're right,
Right.
Peter.
no, wow, we pay to have it planted.
Right, planted.
Yeah, yeah. So is that your pleasure? You want to just make that decision, or do you want to think about this for another week?
I think I wanna think about
I
it.
won't think about it too.
Okay, all right. So that would be my suggestion. Is 5 a good number? 3 a better number? Ian?
Before you do that, it might be good to just look through, because there's a lot of these, like the EV charging, the solar, you know, you're not gonna, for that amount, you're not gonna get a solar panels on the dump. That's one thing that the Energy Committee is working on at the moment. That's gonna be from an outside investor coming in and doing that. Same with the community center, you know, that pays for like, you know, some of the engineering and some of the architectural fees, but it's not the building. So I think you could go through these and sort of
Systematically
remove-
eliminate.
Yeah.
Well, that's,
To help, I mean, that's going to save you time
Yeah.
as well. I mean, I'm willing to, for the things that I'm connected with, I can go through and talk to Valerie, and we can look at the reasoning behind, and maybe just, you know, take those off for now, at least to help it narrow down.
like the
That
curb.
might be a suggestion.
Rebuilding the brick curb on Main Street, that's all part of that.
Yeah, that's
Right,
gonna
exactly.
happen.
that's being done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a
Problem-
number of them that I saw that are being done. A lot of the paving ones,
Yeah.
like paved West Street, that's being done.
Yeah. So,
And a lot of those too, you can get grant money for. Sharon had the idea for historic preservation. If the town becomes certified local government, there's funding available through grants to be able to support
Right.
historic preservation directly. So that could do, you know, take care of those things. And it's also, I think it would be nice. It's work, but for the people that suggested things, to give some sort of feedback to those people, and it could be just in one longer piece to Front Porch Forum or something like that, or on the Facebook page that sort of details, this is everything that came in, and this is what was decided, and for these reasons, these, you know, not eliminated, but, you know, just a
Already
different.
being in process.
Yeah,
In
exactly.
process.
Right.
I
Yeah.
can see adding another column and a status kind of.
Right.
Just a notation that this is scheduled for 2019,
Right,
or the Energy Committee is working on this, and grant
Right,
funding is
exactly.
available.
And
or
that could just be on the
kind of-
website.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to spend this money. I would like to see the Andrew Johnson Fund exist from year to year.
So that's-
So that we
that's on your list.
honor him.
Yep. Yep. And- But as I pointed out, and Ian just reemphasized, is, you know, don't go specific. Like just looking at page 7 here, it's almost all trails. So
Yeah,
that's,
yeah.
so that's
Right.
just a subject that we would look at. Don't list that 3 times.
Can't pick all 7 of those on that.
Right,
6
yeah,
of those on
yeah,
that.
and, you know, and if, to have some kind of a,
You know, there's a,
just investment in kind of thing, then so be it.
So you want 5 as our first choice?
Well, is 5 a good number? Want to do 3? I don't, 3?
3.
5 would have been fine for me, but
Okay,
I've been fine.
all right, so I hear 2
I
5s and
don't
2
wanna,
3s.
I don't wanna make that many decisions.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How hard is that?
Well, it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Whatever.
Well, let's put it this way, a maximum of 5,
There you go.
okay? All right,
I guess I can.
Are you here for this topic? Okay.
Put you on the spot.
The camera didn't turn, so you're lucky.
so, well, while we're on the revolving loan fund, Jan, I was confused on the back page of this. You hand wrote some numbers in here, does that?
I think
Somebody
that's
did.
Pete Ryan wrote that.
Oh, okay. Does that mean that
To put you on the spot.
Is that what they're behind?
I think so. I think think that's the, yeah.
Okay, that's what they're behind.
That's my understanding.
Okay.
Yes.
So these, because it says payment and then it lists a whole bunch of dates underneath, and obviously Liz Lovely did not make the payments on those dates.
Right,
So neither did these other folks.
correct.
Okay, that answers my question. Maple Street replacement trees, consider options and next steps. We've got a recommendation from our tree warden.
And those are not the trees he recommended the first time around.
No.
You have a good memory, Karen. Hey,
No, I know
I've been
that.
practicing.
Practice and remembering.
yeah.
Plan the memory.
I'm not very good at it.
And so, I don't know enough about trees to, that's why we have a
That's
tree
why we
warden
have
with
him.
expertise. Yeah. And,
I mean, my only concern is you said it can cause the sidewalks to,
Yeah,
yeah,
Just about any tree coming down.
yeah.
well,
Unless
we did
you-
say within 20
Yeah.
years down the
Yeah.
road.
Well, he said it would, well, the way I read it, it was gonna take at least 20 years.
a taprooted tree would be less.
Yeah.
Of a
Well,
problem.
and that's what he recommended the first time around,
Yeah.
but then it's Maple Street, and I think
Right.
that may be why
Yeah,
he.
Yeah.
why he chose one that
Yeah,
wasn't
he's
taprooted.
choosing a variety of a maple tree, which,
Makes sense.
and so if it's, the biggest problem before is they were planted too close to the sidewalk. And some of the other ones that are further away are not causing a problem yet.
And maybe the roots, or the root ball can be angled in such a way to
I don't know
turn.
if you can control where roots go.
No, but when it's in the planting stage, you can kind of get a sense
Yeah.
for where
Yeah.
the underside
Mhm.
is going to go.
You can't put a note in with it, please don't go this way.
Yeah. Sign.
Yeah.
Put a steel gate.
Do a little
in front of it.
trimming before it goes on in the ground.
So I feel we do have an obligation to replace those trees that we're taking down in the spring. And,
Did he give a cost? Oh, no, he told
No.
us where we could get it from.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
so that would be one of the next steps, is making the decision of where we're gonna get them and,
Could get a couple of quotes from a couple of
yeah.
The one that
professional
was,
folks.
what's he recommending for the one that we're planning on private property?
I think it's that same.
I think it's the
red
same
maple.
thing.
Autumn blaze, isn't it?
The
Yeah.
Island Blaze, which is.
A red
The
maple.
red maple.
Yeah.
Well, it's not really.
Culver,
Cultivar.
Cultivar, red
Yeah.
maple, the autumn
Okay.
We
blaze.
probably just
Didn't I say
butchered
red
that, but.
Look it up, Joel.
They say red maple?
Google it.
I'm just, I mean, I thought the whole idea there was that we could get that one back far enough away from the sidewalk.
Right.
Right.
And that should maybe be something more.
It wouldn't heave the sidewalk in our lifetime.
Right.
Yeah.
You mean a different species?
A different species other than a red maple.
Well,
I don't know,
Can we check with the landowner?
Well, I was just going to suggest, let's have our tree warden work with a
Landowner.
homeowner
for that.
Homeowner.
for that one.
For that one.
And as far as I'm concerned, I'm gonna go with the expertise of the tree
Yeah.
warden. That's why we have it.
It is Maple Street.
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah, and I think that's why the change,
Yeah.
because there was, the ones before were more a taproot tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Peter,
Yes.
question. So, how many trees is it that you guys are wanting?
3 trees were taken down. My understanding, 2 of them were deemed to be in poor health. And then the other one, which was humping up the sidewalk.
And you're replacing it with 3 trees?
Yes.
Okay. And then, just for my notes, the one that's on his property, what if something happens to it? Is it your responsibility or the resident?
We don't even decide that.
It's, yeah.
No, I think we did.
Yeah, I think he did say he would take responsibility for it if we replaced
We
it.
bought the tree,
Yeah.
replaced it, he
Yeah.
would.
Mhm.
After the first year, I mean, we get the guarantee anyway, the first
Well,
year.
yeah,
That's
the
what we
warranty.
get it
Yeah.
for.
Yeah, depending on who we
Well, I'm
get.
thinking if it reroots itself, like, and affects the sidewalk,
We aren't gonna have to worry, unfortunately, I shouldn't say that, but we're not gonna have to
No.
worry about that.
Well, it's something to think about.
The next round of people.
But that was part of the
It'll be your
proposal.
grandkids, you know, it's your responsibility.
Well, I won't have to worry about that. They'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Ow, that was a slap.
Okay, I think we're good there.
And just to be clear, that the funding for this is related to the sidewalk project, so
Yes.
if it's not coming out of the sidewalk fund specifically, then the backup was the capital roads fund.
Correct. Unless we decide to do
Because-
something
We
different
talked
with
about
the.
that? Boy, I don't remember that.
Yeah, generally.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Capital.
And number 6 is not to be done.
Next meeting,
Yeah.
we'll be together.
And we did not have an accounts payable warrant tonight.
And
No, that wasn't,
Just a
it's an
week.
off.
Yeah, it's an off week.
But there was a liquor license.
There is the liquor licenses that everybody see and
Yeah.
sign that.
It was last
Although,
month.
wasn't there a payroll warrant in there?
Yes,
Yeah.
there was two
Yes.
payrolls,
Yeah.
those are signed.
Yeah, those are signed. Select board concerns. No,
Or they special liquor license.
No.
No, liquor license renewals.
well, the Legion did ask for outside consumption.
That's normal.
That's normal.
That's yours.
No, it's
No.
normal.
Yeah, I know it's normal, yeah. Mhm. Okay.
Before
Yeah.
we leave, well, we've already left the Maple Street replacement, but can we go back? Just to clarify,
No, we don't go back.
please, just to clarify, what authorizations come with this item? Get some quotes from area providers. Is the select board, does this include authorization to proceed? Or do you want this to come back with the quotes? Do you want to see the quotes and make a decision?
Well, the question is like Greenhaven can install it. I don't know who the other one was that we were like, I don't know about Rocky.
I don't think
know about
Chris Urban
Chris
installed.
I was gonna say, I don't know that they can install, so
Right.
you won't be able to compare apples to apples.
Right,
And I'd like to know,
I would
does
go with
one come
install.
with, one that might be $50 more, but it comes with a year guarantee, and the other one doesn't? I
Yeah,
wanna know.
yeah.
Okay, so you want to see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I needed
And
to know.
that's, and you're gonna speak with the one that's going on the landowner,
Mhm.
Yeah.
to make sure he
Yeah.
gets.
Mhm.
He may be in Texas.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, now, select board concern.
Yeah.
Start with Joel.
Oh.
Is it in there? You want me to
No,
blow-
you
blow-
go first.
You want me to
Go
blow
ahead.
in your ear?
No.
I'm not gonna help you if I go first.
Blow in the ear.
Blow in the ear and let it come out the other side.
Okay, have Michelle.
You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michelle will catch it, yeah. All right, Peeker.
I told you I wasn't gonna help him. I'm.
Nothing. Ted?
What was the interest in the Townscape project? Was
In the
that
what?
Townscape project, was that due the 9th or something?
Oh, the Main Street.
Yeah.
We received 4 proposals
Yeah,
from engineers. I need to forward them to the Bristol Core group to review them. So it probably will not be on next Monday's agenda for action in terms of having a recommendation to select. There's a slim chance, but yeah, the group needs to get together to first review the technical proposals, rank them, and then look at the cost proposals, and then make a decision. And they may or may not choose to interview any of the candidates.
I didn't hear what you said, Ted, at first.
The Main Street
the
side.
Townscape project, the sidewalks and lights and so
Oh, okay,
on.
that-
Main
Yes.
Street lighting and sidewalks.
Street project, okay.
Yeah.
Isn't that what it's called, the Townscape project?
No,
No?
Main Street lighting and sidewalk
Okay.
project.
That's why she was confused.
Evidently I'm confused.
Ted created his own little.
Ackerman for it.
Well, we found out what I was talking about.
Yeah, we did.
Townscape's
Yeah, we
not
got
bad.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's,
Is that it?
And the other thing is the clock lights on this building, which 2 out of 3 don't shine anywhere near the clock. And I happen to know who did that work.
Okay.
And I will correct it when it's warm enough to get back up there again.
you did some work on that last year.
Yeah,
That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
yeah, for
He's-
free, and I will fix it
He's
for free.
fessing up.
Yeah,
I got a ladder that'll reach there if you need it.
yeah, I'll bet you do.
He does.
Yeah, he does.
Jesus.
Not certified.
You can climb it, because I don't even use step ladders.
Yeah.
Those slide in though, don't they now? Ted?
Yeah, that's what the problem was, getting the angle on the light exact and then sliding it back out there. Or we didn't tighten them down enough. But right now, there's
Oh, so
two
now
out
you're
of three.
saying we, you're not taking the sole
Oh,
blame
sorry.
anymore.
Yeah, there was somebody with me.
Yeah.
I'll take full responsibility. I will fix it at my expense, but it looks like hell.
Charge is double, right?
Yeah.
Did you want to mention what you brought up to my attention this afternoon about the brick?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I was outside looking at the building and admiring its beauty. And bricks are starting to fail on the part of the bell tower that was fixed a few years ago. The mortar is pulling out, the bricks are disintegrating, and it isn't looking real good. And if you recall what it looked like when we repaired it the first time, it'd be a fine thing if that didn't happen again.
Do you have any idea from your experience what kind of ballpark we're talking about?
I don't.
How would we get an
I
estimate?
can give you a name of somebody
Well,
that does historic.
I tried to get Mike involved in it the first time, and he was so sick of the push and shove that he just went to Florida to find somebody else.
Is that Mike Cooper?
Ledoux, why not look at what the cost was that time?
Yeah. But is it something we need to get an engineer involved with to?
We didn't the
I think
last time.
It's
Well,
just
and it
Maybe,
didn't work.
maybe we should have.
No, it was, the problem was with the Department of Historic Preservation selected the bricks. They were junk bricks,
Oh.
but that's the ones they wanted used. I know the source of the junk bricks, and the person was very glad to get rid of them because he didn't want to use them
Because they
anywhere
were
else.
junk bricks.
Yes, yeah, they were soft brick and in terrible shape.
So this sounds like something we need to add to our capital plan.
Could be,
And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Our
well.
capital
it-
building.
So is it just a
building
matter of really repointing the,
I don't know. The bricks are not looking real good.
I have
And-
somebody, I'll give you the name of somebody.
Okay.
Some of the bricks on the old part of the building that abuts the new work are in terrible shape as well. The faces are all
Yeah.
eroded and falling off.
So they need a facelift.
Yeah,
Need to be ground out.
Is that it,
all the
Ted?
way.
yeah.
Good.
Is there any
Michelle?
volume?
I'm good.
Joel to come back?
I just, years past, and this is kind of the odd Monday of the meeting schedule.
Yes.
We used to just work, on the odd nights, we used to work just on the agenda, or just
On
on
the
the
budget.
agenda,
On the
just on the
budget.
budget. So I just was wondering,
Yeah.
we kind of deviated.
Well, maybe it'll make our next meeting lighter. It
Yeah.
will.
I hope so.
Well,
Yeah, I
Pick it
mean,
all up.
anything that we've done.
Yeah.
Well, these were
It's no
added
big
to
deal,
the
it's just-
agenda because they might affect the budget.
Yeah, it's true.
So that's why they were added, because they seemed relevant to funding issues.
I do have a report on the truck, if you'd like it.
Yeah.
yes.
So, as you all know, the truck slid off the road. He came to a stop, went to back up to go into Bastel Road, which we were supposed to talk about throwing up, which
Yeah,
we want to make sure we do come spring, once snowplow season is over.
good.
So he came to a stop and went to back up. The truck spun, he stepped on the brakes. The road was so icy that it just slid into the ditch and went over easy. I think you've all seen pictures of it. Went up, we shoveled the back of the truck out. Lincoln was gracious enough to come over and sand the road for us. We chained it up and were able to right it and pull it back onto the road. The minor damage to the rear corner post of the truck, a little dent where it hit a rock in the ditch, a little dent on the exhaust pipe, and 2 broken bolts on the hoist. Had them bring it back down. We let it set upright for 15 minutes, started it, everything was good. Drove it back to the shop, had them take the plow off, go through and check all the fluids and everything, and that's when they found the broken bolts. But other than that, no damage to the truck. And I think there's Kale, you said today that Kale ended up with a sore wrist.
Some
and-
injury that a workers' comp claim may cover, arm, wrist, which is
But
not surprising for that
All
kind of
things considered,
experience.
he went from, he went from the driver's side of that truck to the passenger
Yeah.
side.
In
I
a-
wonder he didn't go through the window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, all things considered, we really lucked out, ended up being right across from a driveway, so we were able to get Lincoln's truck in that other driveway and right the truck without having to get into
Didn't
it.
take the mirror?
Did not take the mirror.
Wow.
That's amazing.
But is that because the
The
wing was there?
The
Yeah.
wing stopped the, well, I say the wing stopped it. I don't know if it would have gone much further because the dump body was against the ground too.
Yeah.
So,
Could happen to anybody that does it.
Yep.
That was a nasty
This is
storm.
like, how do you know that? And I said, I don't want to tell you how I know how to get it back.
Oh,
I saw somebody do it once, yeah.
I've done it a couple of times.
I want to thank you, Peter, for doing that and getting it up right, because that bill could have been
Oh.
$600, $1,000 for the
Oh,
record.
1,000.
Probably more than that.
3 to 5.
Yeah.
3 to 5, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
I was gonna say a lot more
Thank you.
than that.
Yep.
I talked with Eric about it a bit, and he feels that because it's the newer truck, that he would like to try to get some of those cosmetic things repaired. So he's getting quotes.
That makes sense.
But if it was 3 or 4 more years older, then he probably wouldn't be so motivated.
It's not, it isn't anything major. It's all, definitely doesn't affect the use of the truck.
Right.
But I agree that probably it should be.
Is it covered?
That-
We
that
have a
particular-
$1,000 deductible.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's covered.
Doesn't, even cosmetic doesn't take long to
I
spend
was
$1,000.
gonna
right.
say,
Right,
right,
right.
for that $1,000 hit.
You good, Joel?
Yep.
Okay, I'm good. All right, town administrators report.
I have nothing to add. As you know, last week I had some unexpected interferences with my schedule.
Speaking
So-
of going off the road.
But she stayed on all 4.
I
That's a
did.
plus.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one reason why things aren't as further along as we had hoped at this point. But we'll be able to catch up. Other than that, I don't have anything to add.
Okay. Correspondence reports. Nothing received.
And I don't know that we have anything for executive session unless you want to talk about the tech services.
Well, Jen's here.
Okay.
Jen's
Yeah.
here.
Yeah,
We kept her.
yeah, I think we should.
Let's not. We'll make her come in again.
Yeah. Okay, Michelle,
Kids to bed.
our designated.
Keep that, right?
I make a
Chase
motion
has
we
to
go
grab so
into
bad.
executive session to discuss potential contract negotiations.
Yep, that's it.
For 1 VSA subsection, or section 313.
Yeah.
And inviting
by
the clerk
state
treasurer
statute.
to attend.
And, right, and inviting Jen to attend.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor? Opposed? So be it. Going into executive.